Good morning, everyone. We are going to call to order the Santa Barbara County Planning Commission meeting of October 5, 2022. And we'll begin by the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'll join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have an unusual circumstance today with our agenda, but we'll hear about that from Mr. Wilson or Ms. Plowman, and otherwise we'll get started on the administrative agenda. So Mr. Villalobos, if you call the roll and give the TV coverage announcement, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to the Commission. Planning Commission hearings are televised live on County of Santa Barbara Television, CSB TV, Channel 20, at 9 a.m. in the South Coast, Lompoc, San Ynez Valley, Samaria, and Arca areas. Rebroadcast of Planning Commission hearings are on Fridays on CSB TV after 5 p.m. Today's hearing will be streamed live on the county's website and will be available for download in a day or two. Moving on to the roll call. Commissioner Bradley.
Here.
Commissioner Park.
Here.
Commissioner Farini.
Here.
And Chair Cooney.
Here.
And for the record, Commissioner Martinez is absent today.
Thank you, Mr. Villalobos. So, Mr. Wilson, I saw you are in our Santa Maria hearing room this morning. Are you able to give us the agenda status report? And then we'll move on to the projection report.
Good morning, Chair. I'm in the North County hearing room with Commissioner Freeney, and I can give you the agenda status report. We've learned rather recently that the one item on our center agenda has a continuance request from staff, and they'll be able to go over that later. So it could be a brief meeting today, depending on how the continuance request is granted or not. So I can move to the projection report, Mr. Chair, if you would like.
Yes, please.
Looking at the hearings, our next hearing is scheduled at October 12th. Please be advised that it has a 10 o'clock start time, and that is going to be located in the Santa Maria hearing room. The reason for it is that we do have a special hearing for the Montezuma Commission from 9 to 9:30, and then we will convene the County Planning Commission at 10 o'clock at the Santa Maria hearing location. And then we have, after that, our next hearing will be on October 25th, and that's to go review and take action on the Keyside 17 Senior Housing Project. And that was a special hearing, so that then the other regularly scheduled hearing was on October 26th. So we canceled that and set a hearing for the 25th. And then following that, the next week, November 2nd, we have a number of items on that. The first hearing of the Highway 101 widening project, zoning and ordinance amendment package from long range planning. One of those components is the child care amendments, as well as other cleanup items. And then as well as on November 2nd, we have long range planning is also preparing a disadvantaged unincorporated community land use element plan update. November 9th, we have, and that, I apologize, Chair, that will be in Santa Barbara. I'm still getting used to in-person locations. So moving down to November 9th, we have two items. We have the Garrity appeal of a garage conversion, and then we have a lot line adjustment, and those are also in Santa Barbara. So far, nothing's projected on December 7th, and then on December 14th, we have a placeholder for Highway 101 in the event that the Planning Commission asks staff to come back with more information. And that's also a Santa Barbara hearing. That concludes the projection report, Mr. Chair.
Are there any questions of commissioners of Mr. Wilson's reports, agenda, or projection? I don't see any. Commissioner Freeney, no questions?
No.
Okay. Then we'll go on to public comment. This is the point in our meeting where we invite the public to address the commission on matters not on today's agenda, but in general of interest to the commission. Mr. Villalobos, do you have anybody interested in public comment that you're aware of?
Mr. Chair, we don't have any hands up on Zoom, and I have not received any physical speaker slips for this morning.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a small audience here for one item, so public comment is closed for today. And we can move to the Planning Commissioner informational reports. Commissioners, anything that you would like to bring up today? Don't see anything down here. Commissioner Freeney, anything you have?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay. Then we'll go to the director's report, and Ms. Plowman is here, and she, I assume, will give the report directly.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Yes, I have a few things to report this morning. Yesterday, we had a board hearing, and it was the Valley Crest appeal. The board took action on that. They upheld the applicant's appeal and removed the carbon scrubber condition that was added by the Planning Commission. There was quite a lot of discussion about it, and the board acknowledged the objectives of the commission, but felt that the way the code is written, that the addition of the condition probably wasn't the right path to take at this time. That if that's the direction the board wants to go, then they recognize they probably need to amend the code to make that clarification. There was a lot of discussion about the work that we're going to be doing in the field with the consultant we're hiring. Our contract's going to be going to the board in November to help verify where odor is coming from. So I think what I want to reflect is that the board was appreciative of the commission's efforts, but made a different decision, and that we're going to be working in the field with our consultant to try and determine where odor is coming from. And if there's a problem with that particular facility, then we will work with them to speed up the transition to carbon scrubbers if it's necessary. And then the only other thing I have is we have future board items on the 11th of November. I'm sorry, the 11th of October. We have the house cell map going back, and then on the 1st of November we have Nahui Farm appeal, the Roots Retail appeal. And on the 29th of November we have the Child Care Ordinance Amendment. And then on the 13th of December, we have two items, the Land Use Element Amendment related to the disadvantaged communities. That's something that's coming to the Planning Commission first. And then we have the Summerlin Association appeal of the fuel depot sign. That's the 13th of December. I think that's
Okay,
it. I'm happy to
that's
answer
it.
any questions.
Any questions for our director? None here. Thank you very much. Appreciate your coming over, adding a significant percentage to our attendance today.
A warm body.
Exactly. Okay. So let's go to our standard agenda then. We have one item on that. Mr. Villalobos, if you'll read it into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The following is a hearing on the request of Nancy Robertson on behalf of Concerns Carpinterians Appellant to consider case number 21 APL 70, an appeal of the approval of coastal development permit, case number 19 CDP 61 by the Planning and Development Department Director.
Thank you. I know that there's an issue about whether this item should be continued. So we'll want to take that up. I don't think we need to make what are, I'm sure, extensive disclosures about ex parte communications to discuss the continuance. If the matter is continued, all of the commissioners will disclose their ex parte communications prior to that hearing. So let's hear from staff on the request for continuance. Mr. Dargill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. We apologize for the late notice and the request to continue this hearing. It recently came to staff's attention that APCD requires additional information to clear the project for land use approval. The project originally requested to replace and install new greenhouse boilers, and APCD has jurisdiction over reviewing potential greenhouse emissions associated with projects. Staff worked with APCD to try to resolve the issue. However, APCD still needs additional information to clear the project. As such, staff is requesting a continuance to allow the applicant to work with APCD.
There's no alternative because we fold the APCD approvals into our staff report. Is that right?
That's correct. APCD is required to clear the project prior to approval. And unfortunately, in this case, APCD did review the project, and it was not cleared, and there was a mistake made when the planner originally approved the project. And so in review of the project prior to going to hearing, it was noticed very late that there was an outstanding letter that had not been addressed. So staff reached out to APCD, we talked to them, and we realized that in order for this to be cleared by APCD, the applicant needed additional time.
Commissioner Bradley.
Just a process question on that. So, I mean, this is an appeal, so you already approved the LUP, and that's on appeal in this case. So you do not, like, reissue the CDP after the Planning Commission hearing? In other words, conditions like that, sometimes it's a trail, you know, the applicant shall comply with such and such condition from such and such department. But you can't do that here because you've already issued the CDP, approved the CDP, but not issued it. Help me out with the micro step.
Sure, happy to help. Commissioner Bradley, through the chair. The issue here is really related to CEQA, and APCD feels that the project, in order for them to rely on the county's CEQA document as lead agency, they need to make sure that they have all the information available from the applicant to really establish baseline, that there is no change in baseline, and that's the issue here. We as staff believe that the baseline issue is likely it's not any issue, but APCD does need to clear that in order for us to move forward, and we don't feel comfortable moving forward without that clearance from APCD.
Commissioner Bradley, through the chair. Then the appeal is a de novo, right, decision on the permit. So it gives us an opportunity to correct any error that was made in terms of not having APCD's letter with their clearance as part of that package. And so we'll just be able to solve that problem with the de novo hearing. Thanks for clarification.
Any other questions from commissioners? Anything from you, Commissioner Park?
Well, I feel like I got invited to a really cool high school party and then came there and the parents had arrived and the party was canceled. And so some things I'm wondering, if I heard this right, our staff report was prepared with kind of a mistaken apprehension that APCD had already approved it, right? I'm not trying to be critical, I'm just trying to figure that part out. Okay. A concern I have, I'm always concerned about the credibility of our process and those of us, including me, that are here. You know, we have opposition, although I don't see them, but there's opposition to this project that we're prepared to go today. And do they even know that it's proposed to be continued? I don't know. And then we have applicants that's all geared up and ready to go. And And I know we look at these as land use and look at them kind of objective and unemotionally, but emotionally, you get ready to do something and you want to have some validation. Okay, I'm really worried, is my project going to be approved? But yeah, it looks like it probably will be. And I just think of all these folks. I know with citizens out there, they get what we call, hearing fatigue. They get ready for a hearing and then it doesn't happen, or it does happen, and after they prepared for 6 hearings in a row, they kind of get worn out and don't show up again. So I'm just wondering if, I kind of like to hear from the applicant and even opposition people. Do they want to have a hearing today and get their word out? Because it sounds like this issue that's outstanding isn't going to make a lot of difference to the Planning Commission when all is said and done. It's a matter of checking the boxes, which I understand. But maybe we should think about having a hearing and at least having some tentative conclusions and then continue it to get this final piece wrapped up. So I guess, Mr. Chair, I'd like to hear from the applicant and any opposition what they'd like to do today. And of course, from you as well.
Thank you. Thanks for your comments, appropriate comments, Commissioner Park. I've had a little more time maybe than some of the other commissioners to deal with this, talk to the applicants. The applicants are here, and we do want to hear from them. I just wanted to make sure that we had all the questions on the table before we called on them. Commissioner Farini, I can't see you right now. Do you have any questions to raise or comments about the continuance request?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Farini. Okay, so Ms. McCon, if you could give us just your position on the continuance request, we'd appreciate it.
Hi, good morning, Chair Cooney, members of the commission. We will do whatever your commission and staff would think is appropriate. So we're flexible. We can come back. We can present today. We want to make it fair. I know the appellants aren't here. I don't know what their situation is, but we're not going to make it an issue for your commission.
Well, thank you, Mr. Khan. We understand this is not a matter of your doing or involvement, and normally we would be prepared to go forward, but I think the train has left the station. The public and the other parties are assuming no hearing today, so I don't think that's really an alternative for us, but for the record, we understand you would be prepared to present your case today.
Yes, we went through the emotional roller coaster yesterday, so we're happy to have it continued. But we would request the December 7th hearing date.
Which is the day we understand staff is asking us to utilize. So we'll take that into account.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming down.
Mr. Chair, we do have the appellant on Zoom, and so you might want to ask them a similar question.
Yes, I will. I will. Thank you for letting me know that. Let's call on the appellant with regard to this continuance item only. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I'm Mark Brinkley, and I am appearing on this appeal for concerned Carpenterians because the original appellate was unable and is unable to attend.
Do you understand the request of staff to continue this matter to December 7th because of an issue with the APCD approval letter?
Yes, I do, and I appreciate that. And I was hoping, though, that the hearing could be on December 14th. I was planning to be out of town on the 7th. I don't know if that's an alternative. but I just wanted to bring that to your attention and consideration.
Yes, we'll discuss that and see if that's an alternative with the applicant. If not, then hopefully someone else from Concerned Citizens can represent the position at the hearing on the 7th. But thank you for your input today. Sorry to impact your schedule as well as the convenience today, so we appreciate you standing by with us.
Thank you.
Okay. David, do we have anybody else that would like to comment on the continuance request?
Mr. Chair, no, I don't see any hands up for this item. And so in terms of the applicant and appellant teams, and then also, I've not received any requests to speak from the public on this.
Okay. Then we have all the information that.
I apologize. I'm sorry. Ms. Carrillo had raised her hand.
Okay, well, let's hear from Ms. Carrillo.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. I received a note. I don't know if that Mark was included. Mark was in LA yesterday. I received the note. I didn't see it till 6:34 last night about the request for a continuance. I understand everybody's, busy. I didn't understand about the continuance that, we could have done the project today. We understood that this was being requested. Anyway, that December 7th date is very problematic. So I'm hoping that you can make a change to, the date that we need to present. People, Mark has travel plans already. I request that a different date be considered. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Carrillo. I think that's a reasonable request, given the timing of the cancellation of today's hearing or the continuance of the hearing, rather, to a date in the future. The date of December 7th is on the commission's calendar as a potential hearing date, but we do have the ability to even take a non-regular hearing date and pick that for the convenience of the parties. The problem is we need to do that today. If Mr. Brinkley is the representative, could we know what other dates are convenient to him during that week? Are you gone the entire week, Mr. Brinkley? See,
Mark is on mute.
thank you, Anna.
Very good.
Now we can hear you.
Excuse me. I am available the entire week, the following week, but I was planning to be out of town until the 9th. But I'll adjust my schedule as needed.
Okay, well, we don't want you to cancel your plans if we can find an alternative that works for all parties. So we're far enough
I'm
away.
I'm in town in the entire week of the 14th.
Okay, the week of the 14th, you're gone, and
No, I am available the week of the 14th,
okay.
Commissioner Kuhn.
Thank you. All right, let's take a 5-minute break while we consult with staff and see if we can come up with a date that works for you and also for the applicants. So we'll be back 9:35. We are back on the record of the Santa Barbara County Planning Commission meeting of the 5th of October, and we have been discussing an alternative date for the project that was on today's agenda, which we're all anxious to get to, but are unable to, given the circumstances. So let's talk about the 7th. We understand that's the desire of the applicants, and I'd like to go back to the concerned citizens. Mr. Brinkley, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
You know, we have a really good Zoom connection with you, and I was wondering if you would be, while away, able to join by Zoom and make the presentation on the 7th.
I'll make it happen.
That's much appreciated. We talked with all the parties and all the alternatives, and if you can do that, we dearly love to have you present, but if you're only able to come by Zoom, that would certainly be successful as well. So
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Okay, is there any other member of the public that would like to make comment on the continuance before we take action?
Mr. Chair, no public members have requested to speak on this item.
Okay, Commissioner Park.
I just wanted to make a comment that, we have a lot of good, sensitive people in this room, in our staff, and I think they feel a little disappointed that this had to kind of happen this way. I don't blame them. I wanted to say that I really appreciate staff for catching this before the hearing, so we could deal with it in a rational manner. I can remember cases, I can't remember exactly which ones, where we kind of learn of things that are problems like this in the middle of a hearing, and then we all scramble. And so I'm not mad at staff for being here. I'll have a pretty drive up the coast back home, and I just really appreciate you for getting it organized ahead of time and catching it. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Park. Commissioner Freeney, any comments to add before we take action or seek a motion on the continuance?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
No, thank you. And Commissioner Bridley? Okay, well, we won't take any more time than necessary today, but these are unavoidable delays. Sometimes they're really nobody's fault. This is a very important case, along with the several others that we have before us and have had before us. So we don't want to give it any short shrift, and we will put it down in indelible ink for the 7th, and expect everybody that wants to be a part of the hearing to be present here in the hearing room, or at worst on Zoom. So do we have a motion to continue the matter at staff's request by one of the commissioners?
I'll go ahead and move to continue this matter to December 7th.
I'll second.
A motion by Commissioner Park to continue this to the 7th, and seconded by Commissioner Bridley. Any further discussion among commissioners? Commissioner Freeney again, I can't tell, but do you have any comments?
No comment.
All right. Anybody else from staff? We good to go? Okay, let's call for the roll then.
Commissioner Bridley,
Aye.
Commissioner Park,
Aye.
Commissioner Farini,
Aye.
and Chair Cooney.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right, thank you all very much for taking time to join us for this short time. It's an important matter, and we'll look forward to hearing it on December 7th. So for today, our meeting's adjourned.